Where are the Red Sox top prospects starting 2024, and what can we expect from them this year? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. One of the most frequently asked questions on this channel is where is insert top prospects name here starting 2024, and when are they going to be making their major league debut? I thought, what better way to answer this question than to just do a simple roundup of the top 10 Red Sox prospects, talk about where they're starting this year and what their impact on 2024 could look like, plus what to expect from them during this season. So that's exactly what we're going to do in today's video. But before we get into that, do me a favor, if you haven't already, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. We talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Don't forget, we are now available on Spotify. That's right, Red Seat Radio is now available in podcast form. If you enjoy listening to these videos or want to listen to Red Seat Radio on the go, head over to Spotify and check that out in the description down below. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So taking a look at the Red Sox top 10 prospects right now, there are two names we can cross off this list pretty easily, and that's number 4 prospect Ceddanne Rafaela and number 7 prospect Wilyer Abreu, because we know both of these guys have started the year at the major league level. Now, in terms of what to expect this entire season, for Wilyer Abreu, I think this is a more interesting conversation because I don't know if he's going to spend the entire year at the major league level. He is struggling mightily in basically every aspect of the game right now, and with people getting healthier and getting closer towards rejoining the Boston Red Sox, I could see them deciding to give him some time in AAA to get his bat right specifically. As for Ceddanne Rafaela, I think he cemented himself a pretty decent spot on this team right now. I do think there are going to be a whole lot of ups and downs for Rafaela at the plate this year as he develops against major league pitching, but I think the Red Sox are affording him that luxury because of the fact that his defense still helps the Red Sox win games, right? They're not sacrificing wins by having Ceddanne Rafaela at the major league level. So my guess is Ceddanne spends the rest of the year at the major league level with the Red Sox, whereas Wilyer Abreu is more of an interesting conversation, especially with Vaughn Grissom and Rob Refsnyder getting healthy. Now that we've got those two names out of the way quickly, let's start at the top with the Red Sox number 1 prospect according to SoxProspects.com, and that's going to be Roman Anthony, who is starting the year on an absolutely loaded Portland Sea Dogs. I don't personally think we see Roman Anthony at the major league level this year because, again, the Red Sox do have the luxury of not having it be a necessity that Roman Anthony make his debut this year, right? They have a whole bunch of outfield options, a couple of outfield options that are being really impactful players at the beginning of this season, and they have the opportunity to allow Roman Anthony to develop at his own pace, which is why I don't necessarily see him coming up in 2025 unless he absolutely lights the world on fire, which is totally possible. He gained 20 pounds of pure muscle this offseason. He also improved his bat speed, and there's a chance we see an entire other level from Roman Anthony. In my opinion, his goal for 2024 is to prove that what he did last year is sustainable over the long term, and I think ultimately the goal here with Roman Anthony is to get him up to AAA at some point this year, to the point where he's ready to start making a fight or a push for the Red Sox 26-man roster come opening day 2025. Number 2 prospect is, of course, Marcel Meer, who once again joins an absolutely loaded Portland Sea Dogs. Like Roman Anthony, I don't think that there is a ton of pressure put on Marcel Meer to make his major league debut this year. You've got Trevor Story at shortstop, who I think will be manning that position for the entire season, regardless of Marcel Meer's progression. You've got Emmanuel Valdez and Vaughn Grissom coming back at second base. Once again, the Red Sox are afforded this luxury a bit of not having him be a necessity on this 2024 roster. In my opinion, there are a couple of really important things for Marcel Meer to really hammer out this season. The first one, in my opinion, the most important one, being him healthy and on the field for a majority of the year or an entire season. Right now, there are a lot of conversations going around about whether or not Marcel Meer can even stay healthy for an entire year. This is his opportunity to prove that wrong. The other thing is that he needs to get better at hitting off-speed pitches. It's been one of the things he struggled with, even hitting really, really well in the lower levels. He definitely struggled with it in Double-A. That had a lot to do with his injury. This year, it's going to be really interesting to see how he progresses against hitting off-speed pitches. In my opinion, just like Roman Anthony as well, the ultimate goal here for Marcel Meer's 2024 season is to get him up to AAA, have him be healthy for the entire year, and start knocking on the door of that major league team, possibly at the beginning of 2025. The number 3 prospect is, of course, Kyle Teal, and this one, in terms of the top prospects in the Red Sox system, the top 3, is the guy I see is most likely to join the Red Sox in 2024, but I still don't think there's a super high chance of that. And the reason for this is, once again, you do have some players at the major league level that can, of course, man the catching role. And the other thing too is I think the Red Sox are going to want Kyle Teal to show he can hit in a larger sample size. He was absolutely fantastic last year, but didn't really get a full season. This is their first opportunity to see what that bat looks like in professional baseball over an entire year. I do think he's fairly quickly moved up to AAA. In my opinion, probably the first of the big 3 to get to AAA, but I do think he spent some significant time there working with Roberto Perez and Tyler Heineman to really sort of hone in and establish a really good way of calling and leading a game from behind the dish, which I think is going to be a really important aspect of Kyle Teal's development. I think the ultimate goal for Kyle Teal, if he does not debut in 2024, is to be ready to fight for a roster spot in 2025. Number 4 on this list was Ceddanne Rafaela. So number 5 is Miguel Blaze, who's beginning the year in the Red Sox system in low A baseball in Salem. Like Anthony, Blaze also added 20 plus pounds of muscle this offseason and is fully healthy and ready to rock. If he stays healthy, I think he will shoot up the Red Sox farm system this year. I have big expectations for who Miguel Blaze could be this season, and I truly believe he will finish the year at least making it up to Double-A, possibly cementing himself once again as a top prospect in baseball. Realistically, I think in terms of expectations and goals, you're going to have to wait a little bit to see Miguel Blaze at the major league level. I would guess best case scenario here is towards the back end of 2025, but more realistically, the start of 2026. In my opinion, Miguel Blaze is the number 1 prospect to look at this season in terms of top 10 prospects for the Red Sox. Number 6 is Yoellin Cespedes, who will have his first taste of stateside baseball and start the year in the Florida Complex League. Normally, guys, especially of Yoellin Cespedes' caliber, don't really spend a ton of time in the Florida Complex League unless they really struggle. I think the Red Sox are just going to get his feet wet a little bit in the Florida Complex League, make sure that he is able to transition in all aspects, especially baseball, obviously on the field production-wise, to the United States before they pretty quickly move him up to low A baseball, where I do think he spends a majority of the year. I would assume that's a pretty quick promotion. In terms of what to expect from Yoellin Cespedes, I think he's going to make a lot of noise. This is an uber talented hitter. He's pretty solid defensively, and like Miguel Blaze, I could see him joining the top 100 list at some point this season. In terms of his progression this year, I would guess best case scenario here would be that he ends the year in high A baseball. Maybe he has a Roman Anthony type season where he jumps up 2 levels or 3 levels and ends up in Double-A, but I think most realistically, it's probably going to be high A for Yoellin Cespedes. Number 7 was Wilyer Abreu. We already talked about him, so let's jump to number 8, and the first pitcher on this list, Wilman Gonzalez, who is beginning the year once again on the Red Sox Double-A team. And the Red Sox Double-A team might not lose a single game this season. It's absolutely ridiculous. He did spend some pretty significant time in Double-A last year, about half the season, so I don't think he's long for Double-A, especially with him being on the 40-man, and with the Red Sox lack of pitching depth, I would guess he's pretty quickly moved up to Triple-A, where he spends most, if not the entire year. I do think of the top prospects we've talked about so far that aren't on the major league roster, Wilman Gonzalez has the best chance of making a start or 2 with the team this year, mostly due to that lack of starting pitching depth. I think the big thing to watch for Wilman Gonzalez this year is his walk rate. And can he gain a larger command and control over his arsenal? Because if he can do that, Wilman has a really high ceiling, and that to me is the ultimate goal for Wilman this year, is to get to the major league level, or at the bare minimum, put himself in a position to fight for an opening day roster spot come 2025. Number 9 on this list is once again a pitcher, and that is Richard Fitz, who is starting the season in Triple-A. This will be his first season in the Red Sox system, but honestly, I think right now he's sort of our 7th starter option for the big big league team. Cooper Criswell is definitely the number one depth option, but with Fitz in AAA, I would guess he becomes that number 2 guy, right? That sort of number 7 starter in the Red Sox rotation. I don't think they go to Wink with it coming out that he's battling through an injury this season. I think they go to Richard Fitz, and I actually think there's a pretty strong chance we see him at the major league level this year. He's basically one step ahead of Wilman, who I said could see in 2024. I think we will see Richard Fitz at some point this year, and I really do think he's going to have a really interesting season because once again, his ceiling is pretty high. We're talking about a mid-rotation starter ceiling for Richard Fitz. With the Red Sox entire new pitching regime, I could see them working really closely with Fitz to really sort of hone in and really hammer out a lot of the things that were preventing him from getting to that AAA level last year. So I'm going to say that Richard Fitz is probably the most likely candidate to make his major league debut in 2024. And the final guy on this list, number 10 prospect for the Boston Red Sox, is their third pitcher, and that's Luis Perez, who is starting the year with the Red Sox High A affiliate in Greenville. And honestly, this is going to be an interesting one. I don't really know what to expect from Luis Perez this year. He struggled a bit in High A last year, so I do think he spent some significant time in there with the ultimate goal this season of getting to at least AA, if not by the end of the year, AAA, working mainly on his control. Luis Perez has, in my opinion, the highest ceiling for Red Sox starting pitching prospects. He's got some really nasty stuff, but he has run into issues with his command while he's been in the Red Sox farm system, and that's sort of been the preventing factor from bringing him to the next level. Again, we talk about the pitching regime. It's worked out so far for the Red Sox at the major league level. This is what I'm most interested in to see system-wise for the Red Sox in 2024. How does the new outlook on how the Red Sox look at pitching develop in the minor leagues? There's a reason why they saved this guy in their Rule 5 draft. So in my opinion, again, a lot of these names are names to pay attention to this year, obviously, but in my opinion, the pitching side of things, how these top 3 pitchers develop in the Red Sox system is going to be absolutely crucial to how the Red Sox go about acquiring talent over the next coming years. So they're going to be really important to pay attention to. Luis Perez is definitely on that list. And so that's everyone on the Red Sox top 10, where they're starting the year, what I think we should be expecting from them in 2024. Obviously, prospects are really hard to predict, right? You could have a prospect come out here and give you an absolutely monster season like Roman Anthony did last year and push his timeline up by months. You could have injuries to the big league club or in the minor league system that force some of these top 10 prospects up and push their timeline up a little bit, or the exact opposite could happen. These top prospects could come in here and struggle a little bit with one thing or another, and all of a sudden their timeline is delayed a little bit. Heaven forbid there's any injuries. It could do the exact same thing. So it is really hard to predict what these prospects are going to do during the 2024 season, but I think I did my best in this video in terms of who I think you should be paying attention to for impact at the big league level of these top 10 guys. In order, I think it's Richard Fitz, Wilman Gonzalez, and possibly Kyle Teal as well. In my opinion, again, I think we're going to see the most influx of these guys sometime in the 2025 season, whether that be opening day or further down the line, but it's really awesome to see a lot of these top prospects either developing better or really starting to make a name for themselves nationwide. The Red Sox are in a pretty good spot with their prospects. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are you expecting from the Red Sox farm system in 2024? Is there someone that you're paying extra close attention to, whether on this list or not, for the 2024 season? And what do you expect from the Red Sox top prospects? Let me know all your thoughts on this topic in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. If you haven't already, make sure you've hit that subscribe button. We talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end here, you might as well subscribe. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video as well. And don't forget, you can now listen to these episodes on Spotify by either clicking the link in my description or heading over to Spotify and looking up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.